Hola, ¿cómo están, beaches? Today I've got a Guacamelee review, which is kinda fitting today since I'm recording this on Cinco de Mayo. Like Darksiders and Zelda, Guacamelee prominently wears its Metroid and Castlevania love on its luchador mask. Gushing references in more than a few areas, it doesn't hide the fact that Guacamelee, a downloadable PS3 and PS Vita game, is a straight-up fanboy of Samus Aran's beloved and oft-neglected franchise. However, I don't mean that to sound reductive in any way about Guacamelee, which just so happens to exceed the title of ripoff or homage and become the standout title on each of its respective platforms. Stemming from its Metroidvania roots, Guacamelee starts you at X0 and gives you the opportunity to build up an array of powers within a 2D world. Once a Chuzo statue has been destroyed, which look eerily like the Chozo statues of Metroid, a new ability is granted and gives you the opportunity to open up various new sections in the collectible-ridden map. Fairly standard, yes, but the pacing is worthy of props. Never do you go too long without experiencing something completely new. Once one skill has been introduced and practiced, a brand new one is showcased, giving the immensely satisfying feeling of always having something to look forward to around the next corner. The last dungeon doesn't exactly have this feeling, but it remains to be a gratifying test of the culmination of powers you've been granted. Platforming is a key facet of Guacamelee, one that is not half-assed. Traversal in the genre is usually fairly standard, with the focus being on the journey rather than the method of reaching the end. That isn't good enough for Guacamelee. Taking a small amount of inspiration from Super Meat Boy, platforming is challenging at all times, testing reflexes and the player's ability to know when to use each move. But the real takeaway from Super Meat Boy is the checkpoint system. While devious in some instances, the instant forgiving restart points negate all possible frustrations after multiple run-ins with death. The incredibly responsive controls push even more blame onto you if you mess up, resulting in a game that doesn't need to hesitate to really let loose. All of these excellent design decisions mesh together for a platforming experience that is among the best in the genre. Which is like the combat. Like the platforming, combat in this genre has always been just something to break up the pace, with combos being basically non-existent. What begins as mashy fun, Guacamelee's combat system evolves over time into something actually worth looking into. Open-ended combos and juggles resemble something vaguely like Devil May Cry, with player option taking precedence over what the designers think you should do. Essentially, I felt like I wasn't shackled by canned combos, but rather was finding my own way to fight. Because of this, fighting stood out head and shoulders above the competition. Sort of like the story. Juan, the hard-working farmer protagonist, is killed quickly by Kalaka when he aims to take the president's daughter in a raid. Juan is resurrected and transformed into a respected luchador and sets off his journey of revenge and rescue. In what could have been a throwaway plot, focused totally on a coming-to-power story, Guacamelee breaks the mold by having some clever, ingenious writing. Although no words are actually spoken, the witty, borderline sarcastic writing had me laughing out loud in most encounters. Visual gags and the abundance of references are nice touches, but the script is the most noteworthy trait. Although the visuals and soundtrack give a good run for its money. Just look at the video I'm rolling now. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Just pops. The wide, bright color palette, fluid animation, and gorgeous art all coalesce in a game that is a tasty treat for the eyes no matter which dimension you flip to. The soundtrack is just as enjoyable, mixing an appropriate Mexican overtone with the more modern instruments that evolve into a catchy rhythm regardless of your cultural background. I was whistling these tunes far after I turned the game off, a litmus test of how awesome the soundtrack actually is. Damn it, I wish I was listening to it right now. It's hard for me to find much wrong in Guacamelee. If you absolutely need your games to be long, the 8-hour 100% completion time might initially rub you the wrong way, but that just shows that there is no fluff or bullshit stuffed in for the sake of padding out game time. Guacamelee just doesn't waste your time. Instead, it takes you through an inspired tribute that clearly shows its influences, but has enough of its own spark to have it stick out on its own accord. The written review for Guacamelee is on the site. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. It is a completely awesome game. I encourage anyone with a PS3 to get it, and if you have a Vita, you need to get it. It's cross-buy, cross-save, cross-controller. It's so awesome. Playing cross-controller, I don't really mention that because not a lot of people are going to do it. Really cool having the map on the lower screen, Wii U style, so everyone should pick it up. Easily one of the best games this year. My second favorite. So, alright guys, thanks for all the watching and stuff, and man, I freaking love you, because you're always supporting me. You're always there for me. Alright, goodbye there. Or should I say, adios.